Hi guys, and welcome back here to this extra tutorial for our dialog system. And I just noticed one thing, that first of all we have one bug on here. That's something that I forgot to cover. So if I just compile and save, this is just because on here we just have to do a refresh, compile and save, and then we plug this one back. Just double check on the exact MAC structure. So let me compile and save this stuff. So let's put here DT options. And this now returns, if I get, break the options. Next question. So this is dialog option. Next question. So what we gotta do here is on the options itself, we are expecting to be a question structure. So if I just do a make here, fallback structure, data row handle, question options, fallback. Let me just double check what is the type of this, just so we know exactly what's going on. It's just Unreal Engine being funny with us, right? ST dialog option, and this is gonna be ST option, which comes from ST dialog option, which is what we are looking for. So what we probably have to do here is just that we have this, so we just need to maybe refresh this node and apply. Let's have a look if this is gonna work. Yep, this is just like Unreal Engine. It's because we changed the variables and now we have this issue, right? Anyway guys, so the thing that I wanted to do for this video is something like Zelda. So I really love Zelda. I think Zelda is really great, and I think we can actually do this stuff. Just, of course, it's not going to look as good as this because there's a lot of polishing here, but we can make something that looks like that for sure. We already have this logic, so if you press play here, you will see that we have this already. So you just need to rearrange this. This needs to be outside the box, and we have to do a couple of changes, but let's just get that started. So the first thing we need to do is we need to know the NPC name, and this is a problem because we don't know the NPC name, right? So let's go back here to our dialog, right? And what I'm gonna do here is I am not gonna add the NPC name on the dialog. I will leave for you guys to decide this after. I'm just gonna basically for now create a dummy variable, and then after you guys can set this properly. But anyway, so the first thing we need to do here based on the Zelda is that we have this, and then he has the questions on the right and left hand side here, right? So I think we don't have to do much on our UI. We just need to change a couple of things. So the first thing we can do is open up the question. So this is the main one, right? Now what we can do here is that we have a vertical box and then a border. So I think we can replace with a horizontal box. Would that work? Yes. All right. Now the border we can actually just replace with a child because we don't necessarily care about the border, right? Now let's just have a look how this looks already. So let's go back. Okay, more or less what we're looking for, but not quite ready. So the next thing I would like to do here is go back to the quest itself where we have this. I'm just gonna wrap this with a border, I think. A border. Perfect. Now the border, according to Zelda, it's just like a gray thing. It does have some icons there, but we don't need to worry about this. Also, I can't do this shape because it needs to be an image, but we can kind of make a nice square, I guess. So let's just go back here and add the tint, something like black. Let's leave it black, but then the opacity, we can do something like 0.2 or something. Let's have a look. go back. Okay, that looks good. Do we have any round properties? We do not have any round properties, but that's okay. For now, we just work with a square. Now, I don't know the size that we want to work with this, but I know that I think it's something around the full screen plus 400 maybe, or maybe 600. I am not entirely sure. Now, this border, instead of adding fill, we can just make something like that. And then the only thing we need to set up inside is the padding. So we can add a padding of, let's say, 100. Quite ridiculous, but I think it looks good. So that looks a little bit better. So it's kind of getting the shape already, which is perfect. And we even got this thing on the top, so you can see it's quite that, just exactly what we're looking for. So we got that stuff working. So we can do that stuff. Perfect. Nice. So now let's try to work out the Claire name, right? Where it says Claire, for example. So what we need to do that is, again, something very simple. We just need to wrap this whole thing on a canvas. Canvas panel. Now the canvas, we do not necessarily have size to content, but that's what we're looking for. Now I'm gonna copy this text. I'm gonna paste it outside here, right? And I am just gonna put it, how's it? Claire, right? Claire. Perfect. Now what we're gonna do is on the quest name, let's just do a position. Well, let's anchor this on the top left, which I think it is. Right, so where's the canvas? Where does the canvas start? Canvas, this is, and this is the box. So the canvas is the whole thing. Perfect. So now the Claire, let's just manually attach this using our things like that. We definitely don't want to, I mean, we can actually add size to content. Let's just have a look if it looks good, you know. So Claire, okay, that looks not too bad. Maybe you can add a little bit of more padding like here. Now let's just have a look again. So we have the character name. Now I want to add this a little bit right here, like I think like Zelda, if I'm not mistaken. So it's almost right there. Now of course it depends of the font, right? So we don't have that font, so it's not going to look great, but this actually is looking pretty decent, to be honest. I was expecting to be a little bit harder to do this, but it ended up to be quite cool. Now, padding from the left, we're going to add some 10th padding, just so we give a little bit of spacing. And then we can say, yeah, perfect. So that works fine. And we can say bye-bye. Nice. Now, let's go back here. And let's add our question here. Let's see what happened. Let's add on the dialog box. Let's make sure that this expands to the whole size. Fit actually, okay, that's fine. So that is pretty good the way it is, right? I am gonna align this on the middle of the screen, just because I want to make sure everything is consistently and aligned. Now what I do is on the alignment here we do 0. Let's have a look. So hey hero, can you help me with this? Yes. So on the Breath of the Wild, this thing's a little bit more on the right side, right? Oh, I lost it. I don't. Let me just go back here on Google. Yeah, there you go. So this is a little bit more on the right. And this is a little bit on the left here. So this is a little bit wrong, right, on our end. So what we would like to do here, we can do this, right? Let's see if this works in a decent way. That works nicely. But I think, let me just add here a couple of options. We're also going to refactor those options a little bit, just so things looks a little bit better. But imagine that we are like on a 1080, like a bigger screen, right? So what we need to do is that we need to make sure that this is always on the left and we fill the size. right? Now that's fine. So we leave it like that. Auto, we don't care. Fill horizontally, maybe. I think filling horizontally wouldn't be a bad idea. Don't worry about those options just because we add them here. I think that looks good. Now this question looks quite cool. I think that this is quite nice, to be honest. And as you can see, guys, it's very simple to create a nice UI. I know we copying from other games, but it's just using it as an inspiration. Then after, what you can do is that you just make this box smaller, and then you can add some rounded. You can use ChatGPT to create a UI for you. But let's focus on the button now, because the button the Zelda use here is so quick, so easy to use. Again, I don't have necessarily this shape, but we can make this color, right? So what we can do here is just a button anyway. So when you are normal, right, we're gonna make this black, and we're gonna add the tint, the opacity, like this. Now when you hover, it goes to maybe a darker color. You can also, I think, on outline settings, image settings, or when you express, you also change the design. But just by doing this, it looks much better, right? As you can see here, it has a little bit of a border, but that's fine. I don't have another border to use. Yes, no. Now, the next thing I want to do here is I want to teach you guys how to do this. How you can highlight certain colors. So the first thing you need to do here, you go to Dialog system, go to variables, and we need to create, let me just go back here to miscellaneous. I think it's called rich text. Have a look. Composable, blah, blah, blah. Now, what you gotta do is, let's go back to the question itself. There. Now, we are gonna add a rich text block. That's what we're looking for. So instead of having the question, I'm gonna delete the question, yes, and I'm gonna add this rich text block here. And this is gonna be your question. Right, you're probably gonna notice all this weird stuff, but that's okay, that's fine. Don't panic yet. Now we're gonna go back here to the target, and the target we are gonna get the get question. I think we can just call set text, and I'm just gonna hold this here, edit the same for those values here. Compile and save. Now when you press play, you should see all weird out, but that's fine. It's just because we need to tell the engine which one is the text that we need to use. Also, this highlights an issue here, but let's focus on that one first. So the problem is that when you use a rich text, you need to create the style, right? And I don't have any style for this. So what I can do here is just called, I think it's just called text style set. Can I create one composite? Stack the table, data table. Yeah, I clicked on it. Let's go to dialog, var, and we're gonna call this dialog text style. Pick a row structure, rich text style row. Yes, perfect. Now let's compile and save. Let's open up this guy. Let's see what happened. So here we have parents, whatever. So right now, let me open up here. We got the data table rich text, perfect. I do not have a parent table, which is, it's fine. I don't have a parent, but I can add, I think, what is it? No, rich structure, clients. What is it? Like, how would you like to edit this again? So you go back here and we add this. Now you can't add it itself, which is fine. It's gonna throw an error. Let me just have a look. Alright guys, so I was looking how to do this and I did just one simple mistake, and I managed to find the answer on this Unreal Engine guide, which is outdated. but it does still works exactly the same way. So what do you have to do? Very simple. Go here. I deleted my data table, by the way, because I had to start it from scratch. So just delete that. Make sure we replace all these references to nothing. Now create on the data table, and let's just call this dt dialog style. All right. And now here we need to search for reach text style row and press OK. Compile and save. Now you open up the dialog style, and then we can add a new variable, and this is going to be called default. So this is the default text that you can use. And in here, let me just see if I can split it so you guys can see in real time. Let's see if this is going to work here. Yeah, I think it works fine. Now, as you can see, I can go back here to the text style, and I can search for the font. For example, I can select, I think, do I have the Roboto? Oh, we don't have any default font. So that is a problem. But what we can do is download free video game fonts or something. So you download it, something like that. So for now, to be honest with you, I don't know which one is the best. I'm just gonna download this one. I don't even know if, in terms of licenses, but you know, I don't have a decent license. A decent font for this. So I'm just gonna extract this stuff. Right? So I'm gonna extract. Oh, sure. And you guys are gonna learn how to import fonts as well, which is something super simple. So I'm just gonna drag this to my engine, which I don't. I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna create a new folder called assets, I guess, and then inside assets we create a new folder called fonts. And now you just need to drag and drop this here. Super easy. Yes. Now we're going to compile and save. Now on that option here, we can just select the one we created, save, right? And I think that should be fine. So let's have a look. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. It works. I'm not sure why it takes a while to compile, but the point is that now we can see that the font is being applied. Now what you can do is that for the normal font, we can just leave it white. I'm not going to get super into details how to do this, but I'm just going to explain how to do this. So what happened here is that now we can create another one called emphasis, right? As you can see here. So what you can do is that you can duplicate this, and we can call something like, imagine that you try to work with HTML. You can call this H1, for example. And then the color, or actually, I like to treat this as HTML, to be honest. It's way easy. You do strong, and then you do things like, let's say, which color is on the design of Zelda again? It's like a blue. Okay, that's cool. So you can do a blue style, compile. Now the font size is the same, doesn't matter. And then if you check how the Unreal Engine is using, when you're adding the text, you have to add, let me double check, reach. Well, they don't, here you do reach text emphasis, right? Which is a little bit of a weird design. But you can do, let me have a look. Do they have a better example? My gosh, Unreal, what are those images here, right? So you can add images as well, but in this case, we only want to add decorators for the, just for the text. Ah, yeah, there you go. It's just called style name dot text. Perfect. So what you can do, guys, is on your quest. So what's the quest name again? So let me just have a look. Hey, hero, can you help? So let's try to highlight help me, right? So what do? Is you go to, I'm gonna close this, guys, by the way. We don't need it. I'm just gonna leave it here. Go back to the assets here, dialog. We're gonna go back to var, and we're gonna open up the main dialog. All right, now all you have to do is on whatever you want to highlight. I like to use VS Code to do this kind of stuff because it's easy for me to edit text than actually Unreal, and I know exactly that I'm adding stuff. But feel free to use anything. So I'm gonna do here according to the documentations of Unreal. All you gotta do is that, right? So in this case, it's gonna be like this, but we do H1 or something, right? Now what do you do? Go back, paste that code here. As you can see, it has a help. Perfect. Let's see what happened. And it does have that, but it's not applying this. Let me double check. Is this because the question is being translated? Let me have a look. So let me compile and save. Oh, of course, we forgot. We're not calling H1, right? We're calling this strong. Sorry. Yep, we forgot to do this. It needs to be strong. That's how you call. You see, it's already changed, so 100% it's already working. And that's it. That's how you do this interaction with the character. Now you can do the same for the name. You can do the same for those buttons. But the point is that, okay, I think this is a problem as well. You see, this is changing the size. I'm not very happy of how this is actually working. So instead of fill, let's make it like that. Let's see if it works better. Then let's make this one fills the screen, or the border. Can we do size to screen? It's already there. I think we need, so that's fine. So this is the canvas where we can grow the size. And that's the size here. Let's have a look. How does it look? So you got that text. I wanted to make this a little bit bigger. To be honest, I don't necessarily think we need a border here. We can maybe replace with a overlay. Let me try the overlay approach. I think the overlay is much better. So we have here that, and then we can just put the question there. This on the overlay. This is gonna mess around a couple of things, but don't worry. I'm gonna fix this design. And as you can see, good part of this is just trying to find things that are working and things that are not working on the game. Now here, the position. Can I set the position of this? Let's just have a look. How does it look? I think it looks broken. It doesn't look great. Let me just do a Ctrl-Z. Let's keep with the canvas like we had it before. So I don't know why this canvas is too small. Is that because the scale box is small or something? Size to content. Okay. Maybe that is the problem. So we need to, let's just leave the size like 800. Let's see how does it look. So if we go here, hey hero, can you help me? That's fine. Size to content. I think what we gotta do is that we're gonna have to wrap this into a size box. Okay. Now on the size box, we can do a override in terms of height here, right? So we can leave something like 1000. So it's quite big, but and then that looks a little bit better, but it's pushing too much here. So now let's do 800. Let's see. Looks better. So it's always at least consistent, right? Now this, by the looks of it, looks like we need to align this always on the middle. Same with this. We can always align this on the center. So 0.0, 0.5, 0.5. So it's always on the center. Now the padding is 0. Oh, we had too much padding, I guess. Let's have a look. The padding top and left and bottom. So top padding for bottom 0. Maybe I can do 20. Padding from the top 20. Too much. No, actually we can correct with that. Padding from the right also 20. Yeah, so let's just leave everything 20 then. And then all we have to do is set up the NPC name, right? So something like that. So the NPC name is causing issues. So what I'm going to do is use the anchor, I guess. So let me have a look. So the padding. So the padding of this, we can make. Where's the padding? So override. This is the fine size box. Oh, actually, it doesn't look good there. Doesn't look too bad. But I think I'm just gonna leave the way it was. Something like here. The secret is just to find which one is the sweet spot that we want, right? Like here, I think it looks better, to be honest. It looks clean, right? This text is not quite center. I'm not sure why this is not super center. But, you know, you can always mess with the alignment if you want. So, for example, here you can do 1. Then it goes a little bit up, right? So you always, or if you do maybe something like that, you can always check where do you want this to be. And now, guys, all you got to do here is just find a way to set up the NPC name, which, again, is super easy. Do we have time to do this? Yeah, we do. This video is quite long, actually. But we do have the time. So all you have to do here, select the NPC name, which is going to be the NPC name, right? And then you go to the graph. Make sure this is exposed. You don't need to expose that response, sorry. All you got to do here is, so we got the dialog options. Do we have the main widget reference? Yes, we do. So what you can do, you get the NPC name, plug it that. And we can set text here, right? Hold, plug it right here, right? And now what you can do is that you get a widget reference. And we can get, let's have a look, the BPC component, I guess. And then we can get the interaction actor. Perfect. Now the interaction actor, as you can see, is BP base dialog, so we can just search for BP base interaction dialog. Let's just create a variable called NPC name. Very simple. And now you just put a name right there. Make sure it's public. And for now, I'm just going to give a random name, which is going to be called NPC01, which is a very stupid name, but it's just something so we can change it after. Get NPC name, plug it right there, and if we did everything right, it works, which is really cool. Now if you want to set this stuff dynamically, oh, what happened there? Let me just have a look. Run axis, don't try to set text. Oh yeah, that's because I forgot about this. Is because we were, I'm just gonna search for this. It's because we are adding like a junk here, right? That's something that we shouldn't. Just delete that. That was from that. Now, if you want to control the NPC name here, all we gotta do is we give the NPC name. So we're gonna add a new variable called NPC name. Add as a string. And then you get the base dialog, set NPC name with whatever the name that we are sending up from here. Now we're going to compile and save. I like to make these things public just so we can, when we spawn the character, we can actually check his name and stuff. Now we can select him, we can search for name, and we can maybe give, let's say, Alex or something. And now if I press play, I can talk with him. And look at that. All right. No problem. And then we get out. And now, of course, you just have to put the animations and stuff. You need to make sure that the character faces you. But these things, you already have all the interaction dialogue, so you can actually do that yourself. So that's everything, guys, I wanted to cover on this episode. If I add anything else, I'll probably come back to this series. But let me know if this was useful to you, if you enjoy this, and let me know what kind of games you're building, because that'll be awesome to see this thing working for you the way you want on your game. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I see you in the next episode.